Hey, back with Grand Tactician Civil War, our CSA campaign. During the last episode, we fought the first battle of the conflict, where the Federal Army of Northeastern Virginia crossed the Potomac and came down and attacked us in the vicinity of Manassas Junction. We were trying to get the Shenandoah Army over the Blue Ridge in reinforcement range in time. That did not occur. Beauregard's North Virginia Army had to face them alone at about, not quite, but almost 2-to-1 odds. Defensive battle, and it worked out okay. McDowell has retreated, and I was hoping he would retreat across the river and kind of give us a free shot to move up and reclaim Alexandria. He didn't. He's sitting right here on the bank of the river, I think. It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, he's on the Virginia side. And even though he caught a little bit of a whooping, it's still 25,000 troops sitting there, and I've got 17,000. I don't think I want to just waltz up and take Alexandria just yet. I thought about moving the Shenandoah Army over here so that we've got a decent-sized force, but there's another federal army. It's not visible right now, but somewhere over in this area. And we've got Winchester here. We've got a supply depot at Harper's Ferry. It's called the Army of the Shenandoah for a reason. Kind of needs to stay over here. I think what I'm going to do here is move Johnston back over to Winchester, right about here. And we've got that 2.5-hour telegraph delay because the Confederate capital is all the way down in Alabama. Once he gets here, though, I'm going to put a fort over here on this road coming over from Western Virginia. And then another fort over here near this depot on the road leading across the river to Maryland. So that we've got some fortifications there for either route which Federals may take heading into the Shenandoah Valley. And the idea is not that they will be a robust defense. Forts aren't really. When they get sieged, they will fall if not supported. But they serve as a little kind of a speed bump, right? You're somewhere else looking on the map, and then all of a sudden, you come back over, and it turns out Winchester is gone. It's turned Union because there's an army there, and you didn't know it. With forts in the way, it slows them down, forces them to siege, sometimes for a long time, sometimes only for a day or two. There's some kind of RNG built into that. But it's, the idea is just to slow them down long enough where you get at very least you get a notification up here that there's a siege going on, and maybe give time for an army to get over there and support. So that's what the near-term plan is for Johnston and his army. This little bitty West Virginia army, Western Virginia army. It's not West Virginia, it's Western Virginia, because it's all still part of the same state. West Virginia is the Yankee term. But he's this army is tiny, and there is a federal force up here under McClellan. It's pretty big. It's about 10,000 men at Grafton. So what I'm hoping to do is I've ordered this army to head on down to Charleston. And I'm kind of hoping that he can slip across here and down to this river, which is the Kanawha, without getting attacked by McClellan. And of course, if he is, then I'm just going to have him retreat or withdraw. Army of Tennessee is still here in Nashville, and most of these smaller armies over here are still waiting on their consolidating brigades to come. We had transferred some brigades, and it's going to take a few days for them to arrive. That and building up readiness. Still in the orange for Tennessee. It was orange for the Western Virginia Army, and lost my bearings here. Where is he? There he is. I'm not going to do too much with the Missouri Army yet either. Kind of waiting for the telegraph lines to be built, because right now it would take forever for orders to get to this army. I know we saw that in the last 2 episodes ago, maybe. I don't remember how long it was, but quite long. So he's just preparing now for his advance up through southwestern Missouri. He's building a supply depot here. He's at 100% supply flow where he is right now, but he hasn't. But price hasn't moved yet. And my understanding is that the demand on supplies is much, much lower when an army is stationary, and then that demand signal just jumps up remarkably just when they start marching, let alone fighting. So just because he's in supply now, once he starts moving, he very well may not be. In addition to that, my understanding is that even if an army is fully supplied from infrastructure points, like where is he drawing his? Well, here's a little tip right here. Up here on these map information settings by the compass, by default, the telegraph connection lines and the supply lines are turned off by default. And every time you've exited out, you come back and you log the game on, load your save, and these will be turned off again. This is pretty useful information for logistics and order delays. This is stuff that's good to know. It does clutter up the map a little bit, but I think it's worth seeing those. And then speaking of clutter, personally, I find these battle monuments not very useful, so I turn those off. And we've only had the one battle. It doesn't clutter up the map, but usually in that Virginia area between Washington and Richmond, it doesn't take very long before there's been so many battles fought over there. You're like, it looks like the armies are kind of weaving their way through stone obelisks. And that's really about all we have going on. We're still waiting for our one little small brigade to show up in this engineering corps so that he can You know what? I wonder if a headquarters unit can... I don't think so. But yeah, it's worth experimenting with. Let's see if a headquarters unit by itself can build anything. Oh, goodness gracious. 5.5 hours. And he is on a telegraph node. He is connected. And the capital is not that far away. It's right here. So something's wrong with our telegraph system today, sir. Now, the line does loop all the way down to New Orleans and back up. So it is actually a pretty long distance. So maybe it would be a good idea to put some telegraph connection at like Tuscaloosa or Columbus. I think it'll take two. I don't know if we'll. Let's take a look at the radius of a telegraph. Where's the telegraph thing? There it is. Okay, so that's the radius of a telegraph station. So we could, and you have to build a new one within the circle for them to connect. So if we put one right here, would it reach all the way to the Montgomery station? That probably depends on exactly where, maybe not. It's kind of on the other side of town. Yeah. Well, let's see if we can highlight them both. If there's any overlap, that'll work. There is not. I'm going to need 2 telegraph stations here because right in that little tiny spot right there, I can't build one, and it in its own radius would not reach to either of the other 2. So, yeah, one at Columbus and one at Tuscaloosa. Matter of fact, well, I've already given the order to go to Helena, so I may have to double back. I don't know if it'll work anyway. So basically you can only build within the existing network. I had thought about making it all go faster by having the Missouri Army work from the other direction. You know, building a telegraph station at Carrollton and at Danville so that it would get connected quicker. But he can't build telegraph stations anywhere over here because there's nothing for them to connect to. Okay, now I need to go turn these circles off. And that's about all we got going on. It's going to be pretty static. If there's any action, it's going to be federally instigated. I think in the last episode was all just the battle on the tactical map at Manassas, but just before that, I think I had gone over the what we were doing with the armies, just transferring some brigades, consolidating. Have not, other than that one infantry brigade, which I don't care if he has mixed muskets or one-year volunteers. Other than that one brigade for the engineering force, have not recruited any units because I want to get the 2-year volunteer policy done first, so that as we bring guys in, we know we've got them for 2 years and we don't have a manpower crisis next summer. And we've still got a little over 3 weeks game time before Militia Act 2 is complete. So with that, let's just get some time rolling, see what happens. I don't know if much is going to happen. Oh no, that other federal army moved over here close to Washington. Okay, that's cool. check out his. Let's move him up just a little bit. Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll get a fort building. I think that'll be fine there. And another one building over on this side. Yeah, right on the road. That's great. Well, that'll keep Johnston busy for a while. 51 days, 51 days. So over a month and a half for these. I'm relatively pessimistic that the United States is going to leave Johnston alone long enough to finish those forts. We'll just see. Okay. Roll the time. Maybe we can do a naval raid attack somewhere. So far, I'm only being blockaded here at Hampton Roads off of Norfolk. There's only 5 ports being blocked. The main port, of course, being Gosport. Gosport is across the Elizabeth River from Norfolk and next to the town of Portsmouth. It was called Gosport at the time. Today it's the Norfolk Naval Shipyard, a much, much, much bigger facility. But what's kind of cool is at the shipyard, the Norfolk Naval Shipyard today, of course it's a big, industrial area. It's not touristy at all. It's civilian as well. Oh, looks like we got a battle out west. That kind of plays into our hands. We've got 7,200 men in the Army of Missouri and a little bit of artillery. And the Union Army of the West has come down through the Ozarks. Only got 4,300 infantry. They've got some cavalry, but they don't have any artillery. I think that'll work out just fine. I'm happy to take that battle. I hope. I wonder if it's possible for me to double check what weapons I gave those guys. Is it going to let me? No. I can't get to the... I hope I gave those guys some rifles. Anyway, off we go. But what I was going to say, though, is right on the edge, a little corner of the modern naval shipyard, the edge closest to the old town of Portsmouth on the river, there's one little section of the yard, and it's not historical in the sense of a museum or anything like that. I think there's a couple plaques here and there. But it's the old original Gosport naval yard from the 19th century. Like early 19th century. And a lot of the old 1800s red brick buildings that were there at the time, at the time of the Civil War, they're still there. And they're not preserved like museums. They're just shipyard buildings. There's offices in them and cafeterias and all kinds of stuff. But the buildings themselves are quite old, at least by American standards. And there's a there's some ship berths there, not piers, because piers stick out into the water, but these are like quay walls, and it's indented, and that part of the yard is not in the work area, not in the industrial area where they do repairs and renovations of ships. But there's a few spots there where operational ships, smaller ones, frigates, things like that, are moored, and that's kind of their little home port. Not far from Norfolk. They're part of the Norfolk Naval Establishment, but it is a different location. It's several miles down the Elizabeth River. And that quay wall, it's indented. It goes in, it cuts into the shore, and it's what it is. It's not used as such anymore, but that little spot is one of the original dry docks cut into the shore, used in the 19th century. And I remember looking over kind of the plans of the yard one time. I think that little spot where we moored our ship many times. Our ship was home ported at Gosport. And I think that little place where we used to moor our ships was the original dry dock where the captured USS Merrimack was converted into the CSS Virginia. And I always thought that was pretty cool. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. This is a meeting engagement, which probably means neither side. Where's Saddlewoods? Okay, this is the second time this has happened. Saw this in the last battle. There's only one objective. It is within our deployment. I can't move the map right now because I'm in HQ mode. It is well within our deployment zone. So usually this would be a defensive battle. However, it is characterizing it as a meeting engagement. That's the second time in a row I've seen that. I think this probably has something to do with the fact that I turned off the VP objective, the continuous victory points from objectives. I think maybe it's why it's like that. Because as it is right now, yeah, we have credit for 3 points for objectives, but we're not going to get any more. So I guess the game is just figuring, okay, well, that's it for that objective, unless it gets captured. I don't know. Notice we are just across the border from Arkansas. We're in Missouri, which is not part of the Confederacy. It is still in, it did not secede. It is Union territory. There's a lot of Confederate support here, but it's a Union state. Because of that, our morale is much lower than the Federals, because they're the ones fighting on home ground now at the moment. So they get, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure if they get a morale. No. They are not getting a morale buff, I don't think, from fighting on Union territory, but we are getting a morale nerf because we're fighting in enemy territory. So it's a reverse of the battle that we had at Manassas, where we were fighting on Confederate territory. And early in the war, that basically you get the full nerf. As experience grows and the veterancy of the units grow, and that's what that military experience stat is all about, I think. That morale hit from operating in enemy territory, it gets mitigated a lot. But right now, because we're not defending, we're attacking, we're on federal ground, we're taking a morale hit. So, I'm not putting them there. I just was getting them out of the corner so I could see the units a little better. That is our spawn area. We own 3 roads. There's no reinforcements coming, so those aren't really important. But he's got the northeast road up here in the corner. So he is spawning somewhere in this area. If I remember correctly, this Union Army is commanded by Nathaniel Lyon. Yes, Nathaniel Lyon. See how the leaders match up. Sterling Price has much more fame, not surprising. About the same on leadership. Lyon's actually a little better on initiative. Price better on administration, and Price much better on cunning. Haha, that should be helpful. How exactly, I'm not exactly sure, but it sounds like a good thing. Does he have any other route to get to the objective other than just straight down this central road? I don't think so. His only road comes, so he has to go at least as far as the Stanley Place, and then he can go left or right. The direct route, the route through Willow Garden looks a little more direct than the other way around on the north side of Big Rock Mountain. If Lion wants to follow roads all the way. One way he could go is come around the north side, and there is no road, but there is a ford. Actually, is that a ford or a bridge? It's got to be a ford. Well, that's such a small stream. I think units could walk across that anyway, even if there wasn't a ford. I think a human player might come that way. I'd certainly consider it. But I don't know if the AI will. I think he's going to want to follow roads. Because that's kind of the AI, not just enemy AI, but that's your own subordinate units' default AI as well. You can override that with some, like alt-clicking or something. I don't remember the exact command. But if you don't specifically tell your subordinate units not to do so, your own units will follow roads to get to where you told them to go to. So I feel pretty comfortable with leaving this unguarded on over here. But I'm not sure. See, this spot right here, the terrain is such that defending here in town would be, this would be a great spot. You've got a little bit of creek right here that offers some cover. You've got you've got some elevation here. Put artillery on. This is where I'd like to defend. And I think that's where I'm going to defend. Because, yeah, we do have cav here. We did not have cav in the last battle. So what I can do is I can set up over here to defend in this area where the ground is good. But I can send that cav division up this way just to make sure. And then if Federals are spotted coming around the north side, there will be time to reorient the defense over to this side of town and block this road. Or if they do come this way, the cav will just come back over and join the fight. I think that'll work. I think that's what I'm going to do. And oh, by the way, cav keeping an eye on this intersection would also do the same job of covering this possible non-road approach, because he would come from this direction. So that base is covered as well. Okay, so we'll start like that. Where's our, get our cav guy, put him over. I'm going to place him here. Just so that his order to move at the beginning of the campaign, or beginning of the battle, will get to him a lot quicker being inside Price's command radius. And then I can order him up to here. Let's look at that terrain. No. We'll put him up here where he's got some elevation and he can see the clear area. That'll work. Okay, we have 4 infantry brigades. But I'm going to want them over here, and I can't deploy them there just yet. So really I just need to put them where they can march over. And same thing with these 2 little batteries. Actually, I'm just going to we'll just limber the 2 batteries. Just put them here. They don't need to move forward very far. But they do need to move forward, so there. And we'll do the same thing with the troops. They're not going to immediately be in contact. It's fine if they are in march order. We're going to want 1 division here. No, I want them here. Okay, that's fine. Just put, yeah. That's good. Van Dorn is still within his command radius. And I think that will do. $5 in the morning. So we probably will have fighting today, not wait till tomorrow. Okay, let's have Van Dorn put out scouts. Or let's have Van Dorn have Marmaduke put out scouts. Which he should have done. No? I don't see the little scout marker on there. No, they're so closely aligned. But there are two little separate firing cones. What kind of birdside carbines? Yeah, that'll work. Short range, but high rate of fire. If they get into a scrap. I was talking about this in the first episode, trying to articulate why I've decided to make divisions, even if there's only one brigade available for that division. If Marmaduke did not have a division commander, then, his immediate superior in the chain of command is the Army commander, Price. And if I send Marmaduke all the way over here, well, then anything at all that I tell Marmaduke to do, that order has to come all the way from the other side of the mountain, from Price. But because I've got Van Dorn as a division commander for him, Van Dorn can issue local commands, and I forgot the brigade commanders. Marmaduke. And Marmaduke's brigade will respond quickly to them. If he needs to move to a position, they sight somebody, he needs to pull scouts in, dismount, lose, whatever. If the brigade was over here by itself, all of that stuff would take forever, and we would be completely reliant on Marmaduke's initiative and decision-making on his own, without any input from us. And Marmaduke may be a good commander. I don't know if he is. He's probably okay. How is Marmaduke? Oh, we can't see his... I don't think we can see his stars in the tactical map mode. No. But, so he may have a lot of stats, or at least decent stats, as far as the stars in his 4 categories, but he's still AI. So, now any orders going to Van Dorn are going to take forever, because they still have to come from Price. But I don't need an order from Price to tell Van Dorn to move himself. So it takes 2 movement orders, but I can leapfrog the staff and the brigade around to stay co-located with whatever Marmaduke is doing. At least that's how I hope it works out. Meanwhile, I am completely ignoring the actual army. Let's see, something like... trying to think where I want the flanks. I think right across here. Maybe the infantry just forward. The idea is the woods can anchor the left flank, and this little creek can anchor the right. And what I mean by anchoring is providing, there's some kind of terrain right around the flanks that it doesn't prevent a flank attack. At least these terrains would not. A big, deep river would. It won't stop a flank attack, but there's some terrain there that will slow the enemy down and increase fatigue. And you get the idea. And give you a little bit more reaction time. And so I think just kind of right across here would be a good spot with the artillery. So let's tell yeah. Get Edward Johnson right about here, and Rains over here. I think we can speed this bit up. Then we'll get them both into single line. What do you guys do? Dudes, get back over here. Well, wait a minute. Let me see this. Is this a bad... that might not be a bad idea. To have one brigade on this side, right on the road. Huh. Let's move Rains a little bit over. Nah. Nope. There they are. Okay. And that's probably all the Federals just right there. So our Cav can come back. If I had 2 brigades of Cav, I'd loop around the mountain and come up in their rear. I just have the 1. The idea there being there's a morale buff from having a friendly unit nearby. And you don't get that if there's not. The staff doesn't count. That's a separate... He would still have the morale buff from having a commander nearby. You'd get that. But he won't have that friendly unit plus. He can just go back. So instead of ordering Van Dorn to come back, coming from Price, we'll order Marmaduke to come back. The order being issued by Van Dorn. You can come back to here. No, I clicked the darn detachment. There we go. Yeah, see the order delay line is short and it's coming from the division commander. We don't have one coming across the map from Price. And then meanwhile, I can just order Van Dorn himself to come back also. That was a mistake. I forgot to hold down Alt. There we go. And same thing, we don't have that order delay line. This light solid red line just indicates that Van Dorn is under Price's command. That's not an order line. Okay. Let me get this. I was thinking I would have time to build breastworks, but I was talking so much about the stupid cavalry orders that I neglected to allow time for that. We need to get these two brigades uncoupled. Let's get some skirms out. Keep the Federals busy while we're getting our lines set up. What kind of guns do we have here? We have Plains Rifle, okay. Mississippi Rifles. Springfields. Yeah, they got pretty good weapons. And let's get these batteries up here on the crest of this ridge. I think from here, they're just high enough above the infantry that they can fire over them without blocking line of sight. That's my hope. Got the game volume down a little too low, I think. That ought to work. Oh, that's Braxton Bragg in charge of these two little batteries. That's a fine job for him. Sun Limber. Commanding a few batteries is fine for Bragg. Commanding an army, I probably will avoid that. Visually, these units look a little raggedy, like they've got some cohesion problems. It says cohesion good, though. Which is not the highest level. I think the best is, quote, intact, unquote. Okay, so I'm not terribly... Infantry-wise, we look fine. We do have this cavalry flanking over here. How's Marmaduke and Van Dorn doing on coming back? I don't think we need those scouts anymore. The enemy has been scouted. Slow down to real time. Okay, he's getting a little creek cover. That's good. Batteries both have targets. This is a howitzer battery, though. I probably ought to get him down here a little bit closer. I mean, they're within range for him, but they're at long range for him. So let's limber this one howitzer battery. And now it's firing and it got loud again. Just move him forward a little bit. That's far enough. Let's get Bragg up here closer. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and pull these skirmishers back in. Still doing okay, still doing okay. Rotate you so you're not being flanked, taking flanking fire. Yeah, we're doing good on the casualty ratio. Would use counter battery, but there's no artillery to shoot at, or I would use bombardment, but there's not really any good clumps of troops. The idea being that using counter battery or bombardment will gain XP toward a perk slot a little bit faster. As far as I could tell from the perk descriptions, there's no perk or not much perk XP gained by just normal firing at will. Well, took my eye off that skirm. Let him route. Because those do count for, well, no, 0.0 for route. And that federal morale advantage is pretty much evaporated. They're slightly lower than us now. Let's go ahead and pull these skirms in. Bring the brigade up. We'll advance Clark. Oh, just barely outside canister range. Kind of glad to see their cavalry is elected not to join this battle. For that matter, neither is ours. Where should we bring... Let's bring the cav over this way. I'll have a little bit of force to get through, but lots of open ground here to engage. Yeah, they've shifted fire on this unit, and he is coming within canister. He is within canister range. So he's not going to last long. Whoa. Halt. Halt faster. Come on, guys. Their cav is being very cooperative. And this battle might be over before Marmaduke even gets in range, in position to do anything. Who was that? That's Morel. Morel taking it from 3 different sides. Retreated. Okay. All right. Let's get... I made a mistake. That's not what I meant. There we go. Come on, Marmaduke, start moving. I don't know if we're going to get anything more done here. 19%. Oh, we're so close. As far as I've ever been able to tell in this game, once a unit routes, goes full red, it's like they're not there anymore. You can order your guys to charge them, shoot them, they just won't. Oh, here we go. I'm leaving them mounted. Because I know they're going to have to chase, yeah. I'm going to get in the cross swords to let's go cold steel, maybe that'll do it. I can't get him to charge him. Maybe if I blob him up. It just occurred to me earlier when I was talking about giving 2 separate orders to the unit and to the division commander. I don't think I need to do that. Van Dorn tells Marmaduke to go somewhere, and then Van Dorn will just follow him, because they'll try to stay close to their units if not given other orders. Yeah, he's not going to catch him. Oh, wait a minute, though. That cav is stuck in the woods. We could catch him, not by heading directly toward him, but I could go up to this road, get through the woods, and come around in front of him. Except we don't have any time left. Okay, 1,200 lost by the Federals, all of it infantry. We did lose 400. Didn't lose any of our guns, which is good, considering how close that howitzer battery was. All right. Well, that's a good little first experience for the Missouri Army. And they should be running back toward St. Louis. They won't go all the way to St. Louis. They'll go to the nearest. I think what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to. A retreating army is supposed to go to the nearest friendly-owned infrastructure point, like a smaller town or bridge or mountain pass or something like that. I think a supply depot may count for that as well. I know a fort does. So this town was Union, but now it's considered Confederacy. I believe that is because the Union Army, I think, spawns onto the map, starts at campaign start here at Springfield. Because there was an army there, that's why it was Union. Now that he's in retreat mode, he doesn't have that zone of control for the moment. And therefore, this infrastructure point with its telegraph station, which is handy for what I want to do later, comes under the influence of the larger town of Carrollton. Which means Lebanon too. Yeah. Lyon has to, I think, has to retreat all the way back to Rolla. That's good. It's the post-battle pursuit and trying to run a... Well, which way is he going? I don't see any blue infrastructure points this way. Ah, maybe he's going to Fort Scott. Yeah, that's actually a little bit closer than Rolla is, so that's where he's retreating to, into Kansas. Interesting. I think that's Kansas. Yeah. And I notice up here, apparently we've... Oh, no, that's the blockade icon, which we knew about. Okay, well, the situation hasn't really changed that much. I still need the supply depot. So, price is just going to stay here for now. I mean, Lion's been defeated. He's retreating. His supply is low now because of that. So one could argue, keep chasing him, right? Go hit him again. Armies retreat pretty fast. The retreating army is faster than the pursuing army once they break contact. And if I were to run up this road toward Kansas and try to engage him again at Fort Scott, then I start running into supply and readiness and morale and troop condition issues myself, and the shoe gets put on the other foot. The logistics are pretty important in this game, as I'm sure just about everybody watching is already well aware. I'm not saying anything that people don't know. Okay, well, I think that will do it for this episode. Successful defense of... I don't even know what that battle was called. Carrollton? There's no town right here. Yeah. Well, there you go. This is a good time to have the little monument, which I don't see. I can see the flag for it. I just can't get there. Battle of Carrollton. In any case, thank you very much for watching.